Hello and welcome back to my top 100 for 2024. Today we're going from, what is it, 90 to 81. So without further ado, let's get into it. Actually, slight ado, my apologies. There's five new games to the list this time. Only one deck builder. So obviously there's going to be a lot more deck builders higher up the list because they're so good. So now, no further ado, now let's get to number 90, which most people probably know about because that is Wingspan. Wingspan has sold over 1 million copies, so that's amazing. Wingspan is a game about birds, and you play them in these little habitats, and there's a bunch of different birds. In this box, I have Wingspan, the base game, and all the relevant materials from the European expansion, the Asia expansion, and the Oceania expansion. Other than the like two-player stuff, because I don't normally play this two players. Great game. Actually, the on my list, there's a couple other games from Elizabeth Hargrave that are higher up. So not my favorite from her, which is interesting. Also, there's a new version that was just announced that I'm going to get to play tonight for the first time called Wyrmspan. That's Wyrm. That's about dragons. So looking forward to that, and we'll see how it goes. Anyway, number 90, Wingspan. Number 89 is the only deck builder on the list. Oh, Wingspan was 64 last year, 32 the year before there, the time before that. Just lots of good games, so hard for games to stay up there. New game to the list and a deck builder, and this is Ascension Tactics. Ascension Tactics is a version of the game Ascension where you also have this map and you're playing with all these little guys here. So this one has standees. You can buy the minis, which I have not done, though maybe I will. Who knows? No, I probably won't get them. Ascension was one of the first deck building games. I thought it was good, not great. I have a copy of it that I got for free. It's a good game, but it's not on my top 100. Ascension Tactics here, this one is, and the reason is you are also doing this kind of like put your guys on the map and kill off the other guys and take these checkpoint stuff. Really fun. The deck building part is just as important basically as it was in Ascension because that's how you get the ability to move your guys around and how you can get new guys too, like new heroes. Only played this once, really want to play it again. I got this at Origins last year. Yeah, looking forward to giving it a try again and it might go up. That is number 98. Number 89, whew, Ascension Tactics. Number 88 is also a game I've only played once. I've played it many times online. This is new to the list, and I've never played my own copy, which I got recently. This is Hadara. Hadara is a drafting game where you do the drafting in kind of a weird manner with this little pentagon here that you're drafting like various different colors, and then you do like a second round of drafting with the things on the. It's hard to explain. Really not that complicated. But you are essentially building up your tracks here in these different areas, so like commerce, military, arts, food. Love me some tracks. This game, I think it plays up to 5, and because it's a drafting game, it plays pretty quickly. In a lot of ways, this is similar to Seven Wonders. I do like Seven Wonders a little bit better, but this scratches a slightly different itch. Gross. Anyway, that's number 88, new to the list, Hadara. Almost all the new ones in this list are right in a row. So the next one's also new to the list. This is number 87. This is Fiction. Fiction is essentially Wordle, the competitive game, where you have one person who's the librarian, lie being L-I-E, and then the rest of, you can play with any number of people. I mean, it says 2 to 8, but it says 2 to 8 plus. Nice. And the other teams are just trying to guess the Wordle that the librarian has put together. But they're the librarian, which means that once per clue guessed of these 5-letter words, they have to lie, meaning that so let's say the word is crown, and then this person guessed sharp, and they said, oh, there is a P in there, but it's not in the right spot. That's a lie. And so therefore it's much harder to guess the word than it is in actual Wordle. You have some other things that'll help you out, and then the theme is like fictional books, so you have to take your word from one of these cards that is like you know, your Pride and Prejudice or Moby Dick, things like that. Um, yeah, very cool game. This is one of my favorite games from Allplay, who is a company that I really appreciate that I work with at conventions sometimes. Um, anyway, that's fiction. Number 86, also new to the list, really a hard game to talk about, and that is SoulForge Fusion. And I'll tell you why this is hard to talk about. So it's a hybrid deck game. It says by Richard Garfield and Justin Gary. Richard Garfield, of course, is the guy who designed Magic the Gathering, and lots of other games, including Keyforge, which is higher on the list. Spoiler alert. Um, in this game, you have these 4 different half decks, and they are all algorithmically different, meaning that they're. Oh no, I thought I had. Oh gosh, I opened this up and it's a mess. I thought I had hair ties on this. I would say I go through a lot of hair ties for a bald guy. Um, Anyway, 4 different half decks in these 4 different houses, and then you choose 2 of the half decks, shuffle them together, you get a new deck. There are a lot of twists beyond that as well, though. It's a lane battler, meaning you're battling for control of 3 different lanes. But also, every time you play a card, you put an upgraded version of that card into your discard pile to be shuffled up for the next round, or in a couple of rounds. Um, in a lot of ways, I think this is a better designed game than Keyforge and more interesting, and like one of the better kind of collectible card game things that is out there. But they didn't do a great job promoting it, I feel like. Um, and also, the art is just not good, and the card design is not good. It's kind of, how to say this? It's kind of dark and not dark and I'm like, ooh, that's so dark. It's here we got the Shard Plate Delver, this cool dinosaur card, and I don't know if it's gonna focus on that. I'm very unprofessional. Um, it looks like a CCG from the 90s, and that's not a compliment. Um, a lot of the production values could have been much better. Um, I want to play this more, but honestly, in some ways, it's hard to convince people to play it because it just doesn't look great. Maybe it'll go up higher. I don't know. It's 86 SoulForge Fusion. I like even just talking about it, though. I want to play it now. Like it's a great game. The idea that your deck levels up and the cards that you play level up, so then you can choose how your deck. You're kind of doing some almost deck building in the middle of the game, while still having like a set amount of cards. Hard game to talk about. Really enjoy it. That's SoulForge Fusion. Number 85 has been on the list both times I did before this. In 2022, it was 28. The time before that, in 2020, it was 16. And this is from my favorite board game designer. This is Agricola. Agricola is one of the original worker placement games. That's debated as to what the actual original was, but it's certainly an older one, not the first. Um, and worker placement game is a game where you have these workers, you put them out, and you take actions. This is subsistence farming in the 17th century. And boy, does it feel like it because you are really just scrounging to try and get the base amount of resources to build something to get your engine going, more or less. And you have to feed your family at the end of a certain number of rounds. And it's really hard to feed your family, but if you don't, you have to beg and then you'll lose a bunch of points. You have to try and grow your family so you have more workers. So you can put your new children to work, chopping down trees and things like that. Um, but it's really hard to expand your house and then so that you can then have more children. It's just the game is so hard, it's so mean, and it's really enjoyable. You can differentiate your strategy with these various different cards. This is a game. It's hard to get to the table because there are other game. There's one game in particular that will be much higher on the list that I like a lot more than this. But it is such a good game. Also, I have the original version, and the revised edition comes with the Animeeples, meaning that instead of these little cubes here for the animals, you have like an actual wooden little sheep, or an actual cow, or an actual wild boar, and that's really cool. Um, Side note, if you're interested in Agricola, Shut Up and Sit Down just came out with recently a great video about Agricola in a new series they're doing called The Top 100 Games. So clearly we're in agreement there. What can I say? That's number 85, Agricola. Number 84, it was 859 last time, 86 the time before that. This is another great game where the artwork is not so good, and that is St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg, I yeah, the artwork on this is kind of rough. I mean, it's kind of like a style, but in this game, you're playing these various different cards into your tableau. You're kind of drafting them. You're kind of paying for them. Wow, this thing's yeah. So anyway, here we've got this shepherd, and you play the shepherd, and then every time you do the worker phase, he'll give you 3 coins. You have a very limited amount of money in this game, and you are trying to spend it to build up your money, but more importantly, your points. This is one of those games that has a switch partway through the game where you're like, early on, you're like, oh, I got to be working on my money. And then later on in the game, you're like, oh, I really need points. If you do that switch at the wrong time, you will lose. This is, it's a hard game, honestly. Like it's simple, it's easy to learn, hard to master. But if you play this with people who know the game well, you're probably going to lose, but not necessarily. Um, just kind of you got to get your brain working in a specific way for it to for for that to happen. I never say anymore like, oh, if this is your first time playing the game, you're going to be playing against people who know it, you will lose, because I used to say that about Agricola, and then Matthew beat me the first time he played, and so now I never say that. Maybe I should just have like a Matthew exception for that. There's other people. I have to give the Melissa exception for that too. Anyway, that's St. Petersburg, 84. Speaking of Melissa, number 83 is Barren Park, and I was gonna buy this game for $15, and she jumped on it before I did. Barren Park was 99 the last time. It was 93 the time before that. Only game in this top 10 that I do not own. Someday, hopefully, I will. In Barren Park, you're building a bear park, and it is a polyomino game, meaning you're putting little Tetris pieces on the board, and it's actually one of the simplest polyomino games. Pretty easy to teach, pretty easy to learn, and you're really just trying to fill up your board. Yes, you are trying to do it with specific things and do maybe certain patterns, but really just trying to get the big pieces, put them on the board, fill things up, make it work so you can get other big pieces. That's it. This is from Phil Walker Harding, same guy who did what's Sushi Go, and lots of other great games. This is one of his best. I don't know if it's my favorite of his on the list. I'll have to check and see. But yeah, Barren Park, great game. Highly recommend it. Number 82 was 26 last time, 26 the time before that, and I don't think I've played this game in a couple years. And this is Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico it is one of the original, like I choose, you follow games, meaning that on your turn you choose a role. So you might choose the builder. You get to build a building, and then everyone else also gets to build a building. But you get a bit of a discount on yours. You get a benefit for being the one who chose the thing. So there are problems with the theme in this game that I won't talk about now. But the main problem with this game is this is a game where not only if you are learning the game, you normally would not win. And maybe I'll have that little exception for a few people there. But if you're learning the game, you would not win. However, so let's say you're playing a 4-player game, 3 people have played before another game, and 1 person is new. 90% of the time, the person who wins is going to be the person sitting to the left of the new player. And that's kind of problematic. It is one of those games where it works best if everyone knows what they're doing and understands the interlocking ecosystem of the game. Even so, generally speaking, so if I was going to play this game with 3 people who know and like the game, so let's say, like Mark, Jonathan, and Amy, the 4 of us have played before online, certainly. I would rather play a bunch of other games with the four of us if we all know them already and no one's learning. It's I want it to be better than it is. There is a revised version of the game that I heard had a lot of production issues, so I'm not particularly looking into getting that. Um, and in some ways, I know it was already on the list, San Juan. In some ways, I would rather play San Juan because it doesn't have that seating issue as much, and just because it's easier and quicker to play. Anyway, still really like it. Here I am talking, talking myself out of it basically, but um, I do still really want to play it. Who knows? Maybe I'll play it and it'll get off the list. Maybe I'll play it, it'll shoot back up to 26. That's Puerto Rico. Last game for this list was one probably my favorite thrift of last year. I walked into the thrift store, walked back to where I knew the board games were, saw this on the shelf, grabbed it, inventoried it. It was complete. The Isle of Cats. The Isle of Cats is a drafting game in which you are drafting all these little polyomino tiles that have cats on them, and you're putting them on your ship to take them away from the isle because somebody's going to attack the island or something. I don't know. The theme's real weird. Um, it's I've only played it the one time. It has a lot of possibilities. I do want to play it again. I think this is one of those games where it says here, 1 to 4 players, 60 to 90 minutes. I definitely think once everybody knows what you're doing, even a 4 player game would only take 90 minutes and have a lot of depth to it. There's also a family mode, which is supposedly quicker, but I kind of want all the complications. Um, anyway, beautiful production. It's pretty heavy. Fun theme, even though the whole like there's some bad guy attacking the island to kill off all the cats or something is weird and doesn't make much sense. And you need baskets to transport your cats. That's kind of a fun theme. But yeah, the polyomino placement, drafting of cards, great game for that. That's number 81. That was new to the list. That is the Isle of Cats. Anyway, thanks for watching. That was 90 through 81. I've got what 8 more of these to go. Yeah, that's my. Anyway, I hope you stay with me. Hope you enjoy it, and have a great day.